Don't spend those quarters too fast. Some state and Washington quarters are hiding serious value. Rare mint errors, low mintage years, and special varieties can make them worth way more than 25 cents. Check your change today, because that quarter in your hand could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The 1990 United States Washington $quarter coin is one of those pieces of American currency that most people would overlook without a second thought. By the time the 1990s rolled around, the Washington quarter had already been in circulation for nearly 6 decades, featuring the iconic portrait of George Washington on the obverse and the heraldic eagle on the reverse. Billions of them had been produced, and they were among the most common coins in circulation. For the average person, a quarter was nothing more than a way to buy a soda, feed a parking meter, or get change at the laundromat. But hidden among the billions of perfectly ordinary 1990 Washington quarters were a handful of mistakes. Minting errors so rare and fascinating that they turned ordinary change into treasures worth thousands, tens of thousands, and in the best auction cases, even more. The Washington quarter is a symbol of stability in American coinage, but what makes the 1990 issues particularly interesting is the errors that slipped through. To understand why they're so valuable, you have to picture the minting process itself. Blank planchets are fed into massive presses where dies strike both sides of the coin at enormous pressure, transferring the designs. The obverse features the profile of George Washington, modeled after a sculpture by Jean-Antoine Houdon, while the reverse carries the heraldic eagle designed by John Flanagan. The process is designed to be nearly flawless, but with billions of coins minted each year, errors are inevitable. And when they occur, collectors prize them because each error represents something unique, a deviation from perfection that escaped the mint's strict quality control point. One of the most sought-after 1990 quarter errors involves the off-center strike. When the blank planchet is not correctly aligned between the dies, the resulting coin shows a design shifted off to one side, with part of the metal left blank. Slight misalignments are not very valuable, but dramatic off-center strikes, those where 40% or more of the design is missing yet the date remains visible, are highly collectible. In 1990 examples, such coins have sold for several $1,000s, with one dramatic off-center strike bringing in over $4,500 at auction. Collectors love these because they are so visibly different from an ordinary coin, making them both rare and instantly recognizable. Another class of errors that fascinates collectors is the doubled die. In these cases, the die itself carries doubling that is then struck into every coin it touches. On a Washington quarter, this can manifest as clear doubling on the motto "I in God we trust," on liberty, or even in Washington's eye and hair. For 1990, there are known double die examples that range from modest to dramatic, with the strongest ones selling for thousands. One exceptional 1990 double die quarter fetched more than $6,000 at a major auction, and others in high mint state condition regularly bring in hundreds or thousands depending on the severity of the doubling. But some of the most astonishing 1990 quarter errors involve wrong planchets. Imagine expecting to see a standard copper-nickel-clad quarter, but instead finding one struck on a planchet intended for a dime, a cent, or even a foreign coin. These wrong planchet errors are incredibly rare and visually striking. One 1990 quarter struck on a dime planchet sold for over $12,000, and another struck on a cent planchet went for nearly $10,000. When these coins appear at auction, the bidding wars are fierce because collectors know how rarely they surface. Clipped planchets are another type of error found among 1990 quarters. These occur when the blank metal was improperly cut, leaving a curved or straight section missing from the finished coin. While small clips may only bring modest premiums, dramatic or multiple clips are highly collectible. A 1990 quarter with a large curved clip sold for more than $1,200, demonstrating that even this type of error can elevate a coin's value far beyond face value. There are also struck-through errors, which happen when grease, fabric, or other foreign objects interfere with the striking process, leaving unusual impressions or missing details on the coin. These errors tell fascinating stories about the minting process itself and are particularly appealing to collectors who appreciate the narrative behind each piece. A bold struck-through 1990 quarter sold for more than $2,000 at auction, proof that even subtle imperfections can lead to significant value. What makes the story of the 1990 quarter errors especially compelling is how often these coins are discovered by ordinary people. Many were pulled from circulation by sharp-eyed individuals who noticed something unusual. A coin collector going through bank rolls found an off-center strike. Another person discovered a copper-colored quarter in their pocket change, only to realize it had been struck on the wrong planchet. These stories remind us that the treasure can be right in front of us, disguised as ordinary change. The most jaw-dropping results, however, come when rare errors are paired with pristine condition. High-grade mint-state examples of 1990 era quarters can command staggering sums, especially when certified by major grading services like PCGS or NGC. Auction houses have reported sales in the tens of thousands, and some of the most dramatic errors in gem condition have reached prices that leave even seasoned collectors stunned. In one remarkable case, a rare 1990 quarter error in flawless condition crossed the auction block for over $25,000, while others in more unusual error categories have been known to reach into the $40,000, $50,000, and even higher range. At the very top, auction prices have pushed close to six figures, with some examples bringing in amounts upwards of $90,000, proving that these coins are among the most coveted modern errors. It's easy to understand why. The Washington quarter is such a familiar part of American life that when one of them breaks the mold, it immediately captures the imagination. To hold a 1990 quarter error is to hold something unique, a one-of-a-kind piece of history that should never have existed but somehow slipped through the mint and into the hands of the public. It's that blend of rarity, history, and the thrill of discovery that drives collectors to bid fiercely when these coins appear at auction. There's also something symbolic about George Washington appearing on these error coins. Washington, the nation's first president and a figure associated with leadership and strength, represents stability and tradition. Yet these coins, flawed as they are, remind us that even in systems designed for perfection, imperfections can hold extraordinary value. A quarter meant to be worth just 25 cents can, through a twist of fate, become a life-changing discovery. For collectors, the lesson of the 1990 quarter is clear. Always look closely at your coins. Check for off-center strikes, doubling, unusual colors that could suggest a wrong planchet, or clipped edges that signal a planchet error. Pay attention to anything that looks unusual, because among the ordinary quarters, there could be one that tells a completely different story. Today, the 1990 quarter error coins are celebrated pieces in the world of numismatics. They have proven themselves at auction, with some of the most dramatic examples realizing prices from a few $1,000s to well over $90,000 in the right conditions. They represent the thrill of possibility, that something as small and seemingly insignificant as a quarter can hold immense value. So the next time you find a 1990 quarter in your change, don't just toss it aside. Hold it up to the light, look at the details, study the date, the lettering, the edges. Because if history has shown us anything, it's that extraordinary value can hide in the most ordinary of places. And who knows? You just might be the one to discover the next 1990 Washington quarter error that takes the numismatic world by storm. A coin that turns a simple 25 cents into a fortune that could change your life forever. The 2021 United States crossing the Delaware $quarter coin marked a unique turning point in American numismatics. After more than 2 decades of special state and national park designs that began in 1999 with the 50 State Quarters program and continued with the America the Beautiful Quarters series, the Mint decided to return briefly to a more traditional theme before launching the American Women Quarters program in 2022. The crossing the Delaware quarter brought back George Washington in a bold new way, showing him standing with resolve at the bow of a boat during that legendary Revolutionary War moment. Collectors immediately embraced the design because it felt both familiar and fresh. And yet, as always, the greatest surprises came not from the design itself, but from the errors that managed to escape the Mint. These errors, rare and dramatic, turned what was supposed to be a simple transition coin into one of the most sought-after pieces of modern pocket change. Think about how many quarters you've handled from 2021. They were spent at grocery stores, laundromats, coffee shops, and soda machines. Yet, within those billions of coins, a few errors slipped out that today are worth thousands of dollars. At major auctions, error varieties of the 2021 crossing the Delaware quarter have already made headlines, with prices ranging from several $100s for minor misstrikes to over $6,000 and even climbing beyond $10,000 for dramatic double die and wrong planchet examples. Some of the boldest and most eye-catching errors have brought values between $20,000 and $40,000, and in rare instances, High-grade examples with dramatic mistakes have approached figures far higher. Collectors often speculate that with the right error coin, particularly one that combines a dramatic visual flaw with pristine condition, prices could soar into the tens of thousands, possibly even reaching $60,000 or more in future auctions. These are not just quarters. They are lottery tickets hiding in plain sight. One of the most notable error types for the 2021 quarter is the double die variety. Doubling occurs when the design on the die is imprinted incorrectly, leading to duplicated elements on the coin. On some examples of the crossing the Delaware quarter, doubling has been seen on Washington's portrait, the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," and sometimes even the details of the dramatic river crossing seen on the reverse. Strong double dies, where the doubling is obvious without magnification, are incredibly rare. One certified example with bold doubling across the lettering sold at auction for nearly $12,000. A staggering figure for a coin struck less than 5 years ago. Another fascinating error type is the off-center strike. These occur when the blank planchet is not seated correctly in the coining press. On 2021 quarters, off-center strikes have ranged from minor misalignments worth a few $100s to spectacular 50% off-center examples with the date and inscriptions still visible. These dramatic mistakes are visually striking and rare, and in top condition they have sold for over $4,000. Collectors are particularly drawn to off-center coins that still retain the date and mint mark, since those details confirm the year and add authenticity. Then there are wrong planchet errors, which are always exciting discoveries. These happen when a quarter is accidentally struck on a blank meant for another denomination. A 2021 quarter struck on a dime planchet, for example, will be smaller and silver-colored, missing parts of the design around the edges. One such coin surfaced at auction and sold for more than $15,000, proving that even modern issues can still deliver breathtaking surprises. Coins struck on nickel or foreign planchets have also been reported, each one commanding strong prices in the $10,000 to $20,000 range depending on condition. Struck-through errors also occurred during the 2021 run. These happen when debris, grease, or even small objects come between the die and the planchet. On some crossing the Delaware quarters, struck-through errors created dramatic missing areas on Washington's face or the boat details. While minor grease strikes may only add a few $100s of value, dramatic struck-through examples that distort the design in eye-catching ways have sold for as much as $3,500. Clipped planchet errors from 2021 are another rarity. These appear when the metal strip used to create planchets overlaps during punching, leaving coins with curved or straight clipped edges. A large clipped planchet quarter from 2021 crossing the Delaware design sold for close to $2,000 at auction. Collectors love these because the error is obvious to the naked eye and provides a unique shape that no other coin can replicate. But the real star of the 2021 errors comes from misaligned dies and multiple strikes. A few examples of 2021 quarters were struck more than once, leaving overlapping images of Washington or the river crossing scene. These coins look almost surreal, with ghostly images layered on top of each other. At auction, dramatic double-struck or triple-struck 2021 quarters have brought more than $18,000, making them some of the most valuable modern quarter errors in circulation today. Stories from collectors who stumbled upon these coins are what fuel the excitement. Imagine someone pulling a quarter out of a handful of change, only to realize the design is off-center or that the details appear doubled. In some cases, families searching through rolls of coins from banks found errors that turned out to be worth thousands. One of the most remarkable tales involved a collector in the Midwest who discovered a wrong planchet 2021 quarter while roll hunting. That coin eventually sold at auction for over $16,000, a life-changing discovery born from nothing more than curiosity and a careful eye. Auction houses such as Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have already documented impressive sales of 2021 error quarters, and experts believe this is only the beginning. Because the coin is so recent, many examples may still be hiding in circulation, waiting to be found. As time passes, however, the number of available coins will dwindle as collectors scoop them up, driving values even higher. This is the exact pattern we've seen with older error coins from the 1970s, 1980s, and 1990s, which today command prices from $10,000 to $50,000 depending on rarity and condition. The 2021 errors are on the same trajectory, and it's entirely possible that future auctions will see headline-grabbing results well above $100,000 for the rarest examples in pristine grades. The symbolism of the design itself adds another layer of meaning. Washington crossing the Delaware is not just a moment in history. It's an image of bravery, determination, and resilience. To have such an iconic scene appear with dramatic errors makes these coins feel even more special, almost as if fate itself intervened to give us a collectible worth cherishing. It transforms the quarter from a simple piece of change into a storytelling artifact, one that captures both America's history and the unpredictable nature of minting. For anyone watching or listening, the message is clear. Pay close attention to your coins, especially those 2021 crossing the Delaware quarters that might already be in your pockets, jars, or bank rolls. Look carefully for doubling on the letters. Check for off-center strikes. Notice if the coin looks smaller, thinner, or oddly shaped. Every one of those details could signal a valuable error. With auction results already proving that these coins can bring anywhere from a few $1,000s to more than $20,000, and with speculation that the rarest examples could eventually reach over $100,000, there has never been a better time to check your change. The story of the 2021 quarter-era coins is one of excitement, possibility, and discovery. They prove that even in today's modern minting era, when technology is advanced and errors are supposed to be rare, mistakes still happen, and those mistakes can be life-changing for the people who find them. What was meant to be just a transitional coin before the next series has instead become one of the most fascinating modern treasures, one that collectors will talk about for decades to come. So the next time a quarter slips into your hand with George Washington staring back, don't just spend it without a second thought. Look closely, because you might be holding a 2021 crossing the Delaware era coin, the kind that has already sold at auction for tens of thousands of dollars, the kind that turns everyday change into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery.